Hello everyone and welcome back to the AMOS project, our course on how to perform agile methods and open source software development. I will now go over the course schedule, the structure of the project and semester in front of us. This is the generic pattern, the generic structure. A particular semester may look a little bit different, and you will find the detailed allocation of lectures and content on your course management website, StudOn in our case, and there you will see if there's any variation over this default structure. About half of the semester will be my theory, my introductions to how agile methods work. And the second half of the semester will be lectures by industry on advanced topics of agile methods and open source software development. As you can also see, if you are a bit familiar already with agile methods, every week there's a so-called sprint release, which means we have a weekly delivery rhythm. As if there was weekly homework, every week we deliver a product increment, meaning we expect you to develop a little bit of useful software and incrementally evolve it into something useful at the end. The lectures take place on class day, Wednesdays usually, maybe Thursday, and it's a regular 90-minute lecture. After the lecture, typically after lunch, we will have the team meetings. Each student team needs to meet every week to discuss its progress. It's the key critical synchronization mechanism within a team, given that at a university you may all have many different agendas, maybe doing very different things, and unlike at a workplace, may not always be near each other. So it's critical that you take part in this team meeting. The class management spreadsheet available through the course index shows you which team you're in and what your meeting room and meeting time is. Independently of the team meeting, another which is 90 minutes too, there are no constraints on how you work, so the rest of the credit points that you want to achieve is performed by you independently or depending on how you organize your own teamwork. There are deliverables due, homework classically, and they are of different kinds. There are two main work streams, the product owner's work stream, the requirements, if you will, and we call the results of that work the process artifacts or the planning documents. And we'll give you a template for that, and you typically have to upload that every week. The quality criteria are, is this simply a cleaned up document where what you entered as data actually makes sense, follows the semantics of what you're supposed to do, for example, in a product backlog or in a release plan, etc. Details will follow as part of the theory lectures of this course. Product artifacts, that's the result of the software development work, so mostly this is the software developer's responsibility. This is quite simple. It's everything that you put into the code repository. It accumulates over time, so we have the whole configuration management history of the work you're doing, and it includes the source code, any documentation, etc., user documentation, technical documentation. Quality criteria here are the cleanliness of your code, how well you're able to use configuration management. If you use branches, are you doing it right? Do you use proper commit comments, etc., etc. So a lot of technical detail, some of which we will also cover in this course, others which you should have learned in prior classes. In addition to the core artifacts, process and product artifacts, there are further process practices that you should follow. In particular, should you be sending out stand-up emails. These are coordination emails by which you, or informational emails, by which you inform the rest of the team what you are doing, but not just the team, but also the coaches and myself. So we see these emails too. We'll go over the content of those emails in a bit. We have a simple tool that lets you enter this easily. There's a minimum frequency, and so the product owner should be sending out 2 separate stand-up emails in a given week, and the developer usually 3, but only 1 per day. Finally, there is the happiness index, an indication of how happy you are with respect to the team, the project, overall progress. Both the stand-up emails and the happiness index you already discovered in our preparatory team workshop leading up to AMOS. But let me remind you quickly that the happiness index is simply a value of happiness -3, which stands for very unhappy, all the way to +3, which stands for very happy, that every member of the team, product owner and software developers alike, enter every week at the end of the current sprint as part of the so-called retrospective. You simply reflect shortly on how you feel and enter into our tool this single value to indicate how things are going. The purpose is to reflect back to the team how you're feeling, and also to us how you're feeling about the team. To the team it's anonymous, but we can take a look who may be so unhappy. And it's a potential trigger for us to check in and see if there is a lot of unhappiness and it keeps persisting, whether there's some need for us to help you with some current problems. The deliverables, so the results of your work, are due usually on team meeting day, which should also be class day. The process artifacts need to be finished up, cleaned up, and submitted before the team meeting. The product artifacts, because you perform a release during the team meeting, usually exactly after you finish the sprint, which is the middle of a team meeting. The stand-up emails, the cutoff point is midnight every day, again 1 per day at max. The happiness index is also middle of the team meeting when you finish the current sprint. As part of the retrospective, you enter your happiness. Everything else, if there's something else, it's by the end of the team meeting day. So then the rest of the slide deck, which you will find on the course management site, is now a succession of course weeks, CW here, 1 to 15, which list what is due on for that particular work. So for course week 1, which we are in right now, you should provide as your homework or as your deliverable the team contract. Also a logo for your team that we will print on t-shirts and give back to the team. Now you can find more information what exactly that is from these links here. So please, as part of your team meeting, read up and do your team contract development and finish your team logos. You started this already as part of the preparatory team workshop. Usually this would be due this type of deliverable would be due by sometime during the team meeting or end of the day. For this first week of the course, it's actually, the deadline has been extended to Friday midnight, so there's an extension. So, but with the team meetings, today starts your work, you deliver this, but you also take additional steps to provide these deliverables for the second upcoming course week, which will also be this time frame from now to the next class session, will be called the first sprint. And for that, you have other work to do. You have to set up the project. You have to create a GitHub repository. You've got to submit your initial process artifacts, etc., etc. And that is due sometime during the next class and team meeting day, meaning a week from now. And after that, it's very regular. Every week where you perform work, you submit your process artifacts. Before the team meeting, you submit or you provide your product artifacts simply by basically tagging and by committing and tagging your release. And once in a while, there's additional information, like in the early stages, week 3 here, we are expecting a sketch or some general description of your software architecture. And always never forget to provide the stand-up emails for communication and information purposes, and also don't forget to provide the happiness index. So this will continue all the way till the end of the semester, course week 14 or 15, when we will have the demo day. All right, so that's it. I will not go through every week in detail. That's it from me right now. Thank you very much for your attention. And if there are any questions, please ask them now.